Yo, what's up? So, I just put up a sign. I don't know if you guys seen it. I'm actually gonna go back and get it. The thing is that, you know, sometimes my internet and other things act weird. I have no doubt that I'm being watched by a lot of other different communities that are not. We're gonna get to that in a moment, but let me just show that again. And we're gonna actually, today's I think day 3, episode 3 of the daily campaign. Discussions. So first of all, I had to walk all the way back because I almost. All right, I want you to see that because we're going to be talking about that later. So first of all, let's start off this topic talking about Brandon Castro. First of all, and just so you know, I've actually endorsed him for his race. He's actually come out when I actually did something in front of National Action Network to help, right, my coalition, wrongfully incarcerated, disabled, stuff like that, right? Yeah, war victims and tried out war activism, stuff like that. Now, I also said that I was going to talk about the Ford Party. We're going to talk about that as well. Now, the thing is that, Brandon Castro is actually quite a... Some people say being a politician is bad, and I get that, right? There's definitely strong concerns that we're going to talk about here. But it's also, these are the people who are likely to win now. As in terms of endorsing Castro, it's because no two people can agree on all priorities or positions. And the fact of the matter is that he's doing the work, as in terms of knocking on doors, getting to know the electorate, right? Yeah. Networking, making the connections you need to be successful in this game. All the people at home that want to sit and watch, popular YouTubers or popular news agencies and say this or say that, and feel like they can judge, have something to say about this or that. It's not really helping. And in this game, unfortunately, it is a game to a certain extent. There's certain things that need to happen. So I gotta give Brandon Castro his props as in terms of, once again, making the relationships, going out, right, doing the work, and actually getting to know the electorate, because really the people who are running the game really benefit from, and I'm starting to benefit myself from this, right? By keeping people not involved with their community, by keeping people away from, right? People say, well, I don't believe in electoral politics. So then how are you gonna make decisions around here, right? You can point a Godhead. You're just gonna have chaos go wherever you want, right? I'm an anarchist because I have questions about all the different leadership systems. But the fact of the matter is that by organizing together, you can put together some pretty cool things. So we're going to actually, one of the things that actually unfortunately is a big problem is actually, which I'm going to talk about today, is 6-7, okay. The problem is that Brandon Castro is actually, endorsed by the Ford Party. And we're going to talk about that for a second. You can notice that there's no other candidates running in New York. Actually, Brandon Castro decided to make it a point to actually mention that he's the only candidate in New York who's endorsed by the Ford Party. That's because anybody runs in any Ford Party activity that goes down in New York City will be interfered with. Will be, it's not cool. There's definitely going to be some resistance on my part. All right, I don't know who sent. There's actually people who's come into the space, right? You could also see that the weird number of people that actually are subscribed to Christopher Leon Johnson. I actually document on my channel as well too. There's people who are trying to manipulate, myself. This is definitely going on, but as in terms of getting backup to help with that, I'm really not, right? Actually, I have to face more questions and stuff like that, and I should be questioned, but the questions are really kind of focusing, and the attention is really unfortunate. It's just not balanced. It's really biased. It is what it is. So the thing is that with the Forward Party, let's talk about that right quick. The fact of the matter is that just so you know, I just want to mention that, like, I think like 14 to 40 people actually stormed this live stream earlier, and that's unnatural. And the people who's commenting right now, I have to make sure that those comments go up. You can see these people, right, just like Christopher Leon Johnson, they have no interest in the topic. Who's going to sit around and randomly click on this particular video, right? I'm definitely being hampered with by probably agencies from other countries. That's serious. But whether this is, you know, acknowledged or addressed, it just won't be. So, oh well, let's go back to Brandon Castro. So the thing is that, remember that I started off this video with a filming the fact that Grace Meng is actually getting a lot of money from the Israeli lobby. And the thing is that, just so you know, Grace Meng is the top-ranked Asian American leader in all of New York State. Now, her district is, you know, really Forest Hills, stuff like that. And she's actually, her number one donor is actually AIPAC, and more than the rest of her next 40 contributors combined. Why are they giving her so much money? She's just one vote. Sure, she's the one who actually, you know, introduces the bills to make Israel the largest recipient of U.S. military aid in history. But really, the thing is that her district is really highly, you know, and not all Jews agree with the Israel thing, but, you know, she is actually really controlled by that. And why is she getting so much money once again? Because she really bullies all the down ballot Asian Americans to redirect their priorities to, instead of serving the Asian American people, you know, to serve the dictates of the Israelis, of the Zionist state. We're going to get to, there's some other interesting developments going on too, as in my upcoming anti-communist event. So we're going to talk about that. So the thing is that, if you take a look at Andrew Yang, right? Andrew Yang is probably one of the best known Asian American leaders, right? East Asian American leaders. Someone who looks like me. Mamdani don't really look like me. He's also from Uganda, which is Africa. But, you know, there's a mix, right? People say that he's from India. He's kind of light-skinned from an Indian. He looks more Arabic, really, but it is what it is, right? He don't really look like a real dark-skinned Indian. So, Andrew Yang, after he got only 1% of the vote in Iowa, people say that at the right and the left, the Democrats, Republicans working together. That's true, also within third-party space as well. So this is just... So, once again, the Forward Party, right? You could see that all Asian Americans are not really involved in that particular project. Now you could see Andrew Yang, right? He's really a hope for Asian Americans. And actually, when I went to a recent event, I did live stream that as well. I was also covered by Greystock Media, where I was actually protesting Andrew Yang at an event he did in New York City. Because even though I'm protesting Andrew Yang, this is not covered by the media at all. They're on purpose, right? This is not a mistake. I've been every single event he does here and make some noise, but they roll in people like Andrew palatable, even though Andrew, every single borough captains, Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn, Staten Island, they're all Asian American, and they all quit in disgust. So when we take a look at like what's going on with, and you could also see me at Al Sharpton's bringing this issue up. This actually, you know, really says what is the role of Latinos and blacks as in terms of helping the Asian Americans get adjustment for their own issues. Yeah. Okay. So once again, you know, Brandon Castro is Latino. He's Ecuadorian, which is actually the same country as my person I'm running against, named Diana Moreno. And in the end, how much time is Brandon Castro really doing to really, I send him the information that I'm telling you, but, you know, he can tell that the press is not really going to cover this issue. So he's making a political calculation. That's the way the system is really trying to trap you and keep you in that space. Also, you could see that they're sending people to watch my show and make irrelevant comments. If I'm someone who's going to be, if I'm a young kid who wants to stay 6'7" and wants to really, mess with somebody, why would I pick someone with only 1,200 subscribers and who's very small, who's not really relevant in the game, with something that's titled, a video that's titled Brandon Castro in Israel, right? And why would they click on that? It's not natural. Now it went down to 0. They left, right? It's unnatural. There's people from other special interests that are here trying to manipulate myself and the movement. Go ahead. That's why I'm doing all this. I'm doing this to document what's going on. So Brandon can choose to fight that whole machine, or, right, the Forward Party, we can see that they have a lot of access to celebrities. They got access to, they're not doing that great, right? Because for a long time, Asian Americans have been really devalued as in terms of our own ability to influence things. So they're trying to raise up alternatives to myself, such as Kangmin Lee, all right, to control this space, right? The Asian American. They don't want me to be the Asian American that gains some kind of credibility or influence in this particular space. They'll probably succeed. That's okay. I'm just gonna document it. What else can I do, right? Yeah. The reality's got to be known. So, anyways, let's talk about Israel for a second. Now, the thing is that I'm having this anti-communist event, and the thing is that here in New York City, you can see a guy named Raul Rivera. He's like the #1 guy who's been actually giving Mamdani a hard time. He says all kind of anti-Muslim stuff. I never approved of that. That's not the way I get down, but whether he really truly believes it or whether he's been encouraged to say that, there's no direct evidence, so you got to make your own decision. But it's weird that he's a Puerto Rican saying all this stuff. It don't really add up very well. I do have a episode where I talked to him about this, and I said it's just weird. But you can see his numbers have blown up. And that's because he'll opinion, he's repeating the words of someone else. Now, the fact that being the only candidate in New York City who actually phone bank for Massey, who openly, I'm trying to, not just talking about it. I could just say I support America first, acting behind that. Okay, I think they asked me to take it down, but I may have changed it to try to address some of the. Okay, they asked me to take it down, but I may have changed it to try to address some of the issues there. But they were concerned it might seem like an endorsement. Okay, so anyways, so the thing is that there's someone named Steph Bechamel, and she actually asked to be part of it, and I welcomed her. Being Korean American, the fact of the matter is that a lot of people want to believe that the Republic of Korea, the South Korea, are the good guys and North Korea are the bad guys. It's really not that simple. And this complexity also exists in the Palestinian-Israel thing, right? People say Israel's committing genocide, stuff like that, right? But there will also be, right, the whoever started the aggression, and I don't think it was really Israel-Palestine, it was people from outside the country. What wasn't really the Jews who made it, it was powers after World War II decided to twist the map up, right? So certain people will be put in place and empowered and stuff like that, and it's not even, like for example, in South Korea, the people who were put in charge of managing the situation, like Syngman Rhee, right, who caused, so a lot of the leaders were either aligned with the West somehow, right, or they were actually mad things on behalf of the predatory Japanese who were basically doing a Holocaust of their own on the Koreans. But they were just easier to manage. So the thing is that truly the welfare of South Koreans wasn't really being prioritized by the people who were put into leadership. It was really the control. This is the same thing going on in our community right now, the United States, right? Yeah? the Democrats and Republicans and the third party and the independent and the politicians will say, oh, I'm for you. But the real truth is that there's certain people who's funding them, and they can't, that's a huge asset to actually gaining control. So I won't say South Korea is all good or bad or North Korea is good or bad. It's not that simple, even though people want it to be and they want to go on with their lives. They want to go back to watching Game of Thrones or something. Watching some fake drama of conflict instead of talking to people that have actually lived or experienced conflict. It's easy. There's a good guy, there's a bad guy. There's a pretty face who's the good guy. The bad people are ugly, right? Simple. Yeah, it's intuitive, and they can go, and I don't blame them because they can get on with their daily life. So, in the end though, right, the saying I say, trust the ones that have been with you, not the ones they give you. You can't trust anyone 100%, but the people that's in your circle, they might do something bad, but then they got to deal with you, and you can cut them off or you can deal with them or whatever. But dealing with you in your locality will have consequences. You can be mad at Trump, right? Like a lot of people are, but you're not really talking to him in his real life. You might impact things super indirectly, and that's really what the people in power really want to create. So in the end, if I want to be able to influence anything, Brandon Castro, right, you could see that in all my work, right? Even though you could see that in the Yang Gang, I really busted Yang harder than anyone, really. This is all documented for getting behind Israel. That the Palestinians never work with me. They don't want to work with me because that movement is highly controlled. Right? The wolf in sheep's clothing is more dangerous than the wolf that exists. And I have to tell you that it's just, even Mamdani himself has said, right, that Israel has the right to exist. You can't kill an idea. So, but there's a lot of, by getting rid of Mamdani, there's certain Zionists who don't really care about the truth. They're trying to win and extend their own right and say, oh, look at how powerful I am. I can do this, I can do that. They're not really concerned with the truth or really pushing things forward in a positive way. What is positive, right? Everybody has their own definition of what is positive or what's worthy or what's not. So I don't really have the right to say my thing is right and your thing is wrong. So I am happy that someone from that conflict is participating. How much of that relate to the Israel-Palestine thing, relate to communism? We're going to see when they have something to say, right? But I have lots of documentation myself reaching out to Palestinian supporters, and they just don't reach back. So it's just the documentation of me supporting the Palestine movement is all there, right? But just so you know, once again, Palestinians have been really horribly affected by all the violence and poverty that they've been subjected to. And if you were their neighbor, right, they actually, when I was living in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, they actually raped a teenage girl who was right down the street. Actually, I think she was preteen. I think she was like, people have been really affected. So Koreans have been affected too, right? If Israelis are kind of like overcompensating, look at how Koreans also overcompensate. But the military-industrial complex doesn't want really to talk about these issues. They want to create complexity in other places, in fictional conflicts that are easier to resolve, where they don't have to have people getting in their way. So that's what that is. So I hope you guys enjoyed. We are making just everyday content, right? Talking about different issues. We're going to be talking about Larry Sharpe later on. And other people, if you have an issue that you think is important, go ahead, shoot that out there, yeah? I'll be addressing these other issues as they come up. And so, Brandon Castro, I just want to put this out there just to really end the video out here. There's no other candidates running with the Ford party because they already know that I'm called upon. By the way, Brandon got endorsed right away by a guy called Phil. He's actually just got elected to city council, and he's actually appeared and helped me in some of my stuff as well. So, Phil Chow. Let's talk about Phil Chow for a second. Phil Chow's actually formerly worked for CUNY professor. I think it's Holden, Robert Holden, right? Yeah. And both Robert Holden had both Phil Chow and Ellis Vitrunas working for him. And then Chow was a Democrat candidate, and then Vitrunas was a Republican candidate running for the seat that he left. So his dynasty and his influence continues on, right? Really, the whole party division over here is really a farce. It's really, you look at Bloomberg, he ran as a Republican and as a Democrat, right? It's just about ballot access. And it's just like baseball teams, right? Or basketball teams. They'll get, like someone from New York will be like all mad at Boston, right? Boston Celtics suck, boo, 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 yeah? Meanwhile, the Boston Celtics comes to New York. He don't want to hang with, the New York player doesn't want to hang with New York fans. They'd rather hang out with another pro basketball player. So, but you know, the fans are really, for marketing purposes, right? To sell jerseys and stuff, they're really convinced, oh, the Boston's coming to town, we've got to buy all these Knicks jerseys and stuff to show support. And they'll do a photo op, right, of them giving out food at like some holiday event, so you feel like they're on the people's side. Maybe. But their job is not actually helping people. Their job is playing basketball. Their job is being an entertainer. And part of being an entertainer is being a relatable and a well-liked figure, by hook or by crook. So, you know, as in terms of so before I was talking about Raul Rivera, and the thing is that he's been lifted in the game because we start from a very similar place, and this has all been documented, but he's been really pushed up. And I'm not mad at that, right? He did certain work and he's being rewarded. And, you know, I chose to go another route and I'm being punished. That's fine. That's the way it should be. But, now, right, I do feel like there may be some hope to maybe gain some influence within this particular realm. And I'm not going to, once again, I don't think it's right to shut them out. It's not right for them to replace us and to dictate how the whole movement goes. But in order for us to have peace, the two sides have to talk to each other. Right? And if the Israel supporters are the first ones to say, let's talk, even though it's all documented, right, how long I've been a Palestine supporter, that's historically significant. It is, whether people want to admit it or not, right? They'll say, oh, we didn't support you because of that, right? Yeah. It's all documented. I hope one day maybe we'll have a conversation about that, but this is real. So, but it is dangerous territory. We know that, you know, will my phone blow up in my hand, right? The military-industrial complex, and we know that Mossad is extremely ruthless. Extremely ruthless. Another person who just got added who hasn't ever really worked with me, right, before, or come to any of my events, is a guy named Jesus from AOK News. And he actually in his rap talked about the Rothschilds, which is interesting, right? So the Rothschilds are really known to be a huge supporter of Israel, stuff like that. So he may be having, right, different thoughts of the Israel situation, maybe yes, maybe no, right? He's heavily invested in one side that's pushing certain things, but that side is split. You could notice that the progressive media, for all their talk about, oh, let's say Palestine, they don't want to talk about activists like this in the Republican Party because it threatens their own control. The Jill Stein, by the way, is also, even though it seems like she's the alternate candidate, remember she comes from the bougie class. And while I think there are people who are well-meaning from that particular thing, they're actually stepping on war victims and indigenous people in their own rights. So that's complete crap. Just so you know, right? Yeah, there can be no justice there. There, and it's not just Jill Stein once again. It's the problem isn't these people who are, because everybody makes mistakes. Jill Stein, these Democrats, these Republicans, these communists, right? Yeah, these Republicans, well too, right? Or people that are even Korean Americans or Koreans. Everybody makes mistakes. But it's how you handle them that really defines who you are, right? Because to err is human, right? But it's how you handle these mistakes that really speak to who you truly are. So back to Brandon Castro, is he making a mistake here politically? My people are being thrown under the bus in this particular instant, but I just also want to I was also mentioning Phil Chow, right? Who was actually who endorsed Brandon Castro right away. Notice that Phil Chow has not endorsed myself, even though I did work for his campaign, and I didn't get paid, by the way. When they said I was going to get paid, but I didn't get paid. But I only worked maybe like 4 or 5 hours, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. But the thing is that Phil Chow also works for something Yatin Chu, and Yatin Chu was also working with was trying to bring in Andrew Yang along with Sal Albanese for something called Final Five, on a worthy cause, right? Where they're trying to actually get rid of closed primaries, I think, or they're trying to create a new maybe some type of like different version of ranked choice voting, where they're trying to have I think Final Five male contestants all get onto the ballot somehow. And some of these policy things I could agree with, but there is no. Once again, notice that the real core aspect of all these programs is there is no true control given to the people that are actually poor or working class, or the people that are the little people, right? We'll give you what you want, yeah? We've got this brand new super idea, and all these celebrities love it. So just get behind it and shut up and get in line. Whatever your issues or problems or concerns are, this is not what this is about. I'm the one who gets to dictate what goes on here, and you need to get in line. Doesn't matter if Stephen Lee, right, the guy who's endorsed by Serpico, gets thrown into the garbage. We are the gatekeepers, and this is what's important now. So shut up and get in line. And I'm just going to try to finish this stuff talking about communism right quick, because I do have the anti-communist event coming up. I think that communism can mean a lot of different things. So how could I really be against an ideology when, just like before, like I said, mixed martial arts, right, has this kind of, anybody could implement in a different way. So I think that there's a lot of people who believe in communism who mean well. Here's the problem though, right? The thing is that under Lenin, there was a idea that was pushed where there's the idea of a vanguard party. So the people that are actually impacted, like the peasants, they don't get to say nothing. Instead, party leaders get to call the shots because they know better and they have the time to get involved with leading the revolution. And you can see that this is directly against my core philosophy of nothing about us without us, right? And shout out to 12 Veils. Or, right, the people that are impacted need to have a voice in what's going on. If your core idea, and I think that really Lenin made that out. I think that Marx actually said things that are actually go against that. I'm not going to call myself a Marxist, but communism really lends itself towards this idea, especially the Leninism factor and the Trotsky factor as well, too, right? Where you stupid peasants are not smart enough. We're going to tell you what to do. Hell, y'all could be a part of it. Y'all don't get to replace us. Y'all are crazy. So that particular idea of communism, I am fighting against 100%. And I will always stand against it because I'm one of the little people. And I won't be your robot. Okay? But for all the people that say communism fighting, for the oppressed class, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Communists just have a really kind of poor track record that's been helping people with disabilities. Right? So look that up. Show me an example where a communist regime kind of like helped people with disabilities, right? They want the workers. They want someone whose stuff produces, but they're not really here to take care of the people that are. Prove me wrong, right? Maybe, and if you're in an instance where you are addressing those things, then I appreciate it. But once again, the people that are impacted or affected need to have a voice in it. So that's what I fight for. That's what this campaign's about. In episode 1, I did say the way that I make decisions will be from my election district leadership, right, that comes through. And in the end, it won't really be up to me, right? It'll be up to the community. So shout out to Malcolm X, a Muslim man, by the way. Okay. Check out what he said, message to the grassroots, but remember also that Malcolm X was killed by Muslims, right? So maybe, or maybe CIA, right? Who knows? The whole thing is messy, right? So, look, banning Castro is just one man. He can't really know everything, but he's doing the work necessary to gain control of his district. And in the end, you're either doing the work or you're not. So the people, I really need him on my team. Hopefully he doesn't turn his back on me for the Forward Party. He kind of is, but he's the one who's doing the work to gain control in his assembly district. So it's just something I have to deal with, right? He's also laying, once again, a history between Latino Americans and Asian Americans, as in terms of the control and the can you imagine a Latino leader had no Latinos on staff? Well, it happens a lot, right? But it just doesn't get addressed, right? Like J-Lo, right? The very last man that she would ever be with is a Latino man or a Puerto Rican man. There's a lot of feminization that's similar that happened to Latinos and Asian Americans. But in this cycle, history has been laid down. Is that a bit? Rand Castro is younger than me, right? Yeah, like he's young. But he's very advanced. He's very intelligent. So I'm still a fan of his work, and I'm still endorsing him because he's just doing work. That's another reason why he's getting acknowledged by Phil. Once again, right? So he'll play the game to a certain extent. You know, it can't be denied. What should he do? Be me? Be homeless? Be spit on? Be blackballed by right and left wing media? Who wants to work with me? Only the people that are in the garbage. Who wants to be in the garbage? I can't blame Brandon. Yeah, I hope he come around. We're gonna see. I'm keeping what I do. This is my way. I think this is a uniquely Korean American way. A lot of Koreans are corrupt, but this kind of I'll fight through it. Can't stop me. That's people that have faced a lot of hardship and a lot of complicated decisions. So that's basically all I got to say for this episode. We're gonna come in tomorrow, say some more. God bless. Have a good one. All right. Oh, I happen to be by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I'm actually Seventh-day Adventist myself. There's some things that they say. Once there's different factions, once again, but you know, I do like following the stuff. So, and to all the people that's out there, these weirdos that are checking out my channel, go ahead, keep showing up. I'll just document. Look them up, right? It's very strange that they're here. Who would randomly click on this video? Look at my other views, my live streams, and see how little people click on them, and then all of a sudden why these ones get all this attention. It's very strange. It's not natural. I'll call it out. And I'll just document it, right? That's what it is. God bless.